Hey everyone! So I'm sure after the last video you guys have been just making granny squares like crazy. So I thought for this next video I would go ahead and show you guys how to connect your granny squares. And I'm going to show you two different ways. One is going to be a very simple way where you make the granny squares separately and then you just whip stitch them together. And the second way is going to be joining them as you go. So let's take a look. So in our last video, we made this granny square, and I'm going to show you how you can attach this in two different ways. The join as you go and the whip stitch. First we're going to do the join as you go. So here's my first square, and I started making a second square. Now this is the last complete side that I can do. So you want a fully undone side when you join, because this one is like half in the middle, so you can't join it here, but you can do it on this side because this is how we're going to go. So as I make the corner, I'm going to, normally we do, in the video we did a chain 2 on the corners. So you're going to chain 1, take the other motif, and in the next corner, insert your hook like this so that you have both of them together. And then you're simply going to wrap it around your hook and pull it through and make a slip stitch. And then you're going to chain one more. From there, you're going to hold your pieces together like this, back to back, because there is a front and a back. So you're going to fold it over, and you can see, if you follow along, you can see each stitch along the side. So you're going to insert the hook. First you're going to make a double crochet, like we're continuing the corner on the first one. But instead of making another double crochet, we're going to insert it into the double crochet of the last one, and we're simply going to do a slip stitch. Okay, so let me show you that again. You're going to make another double crochet because we still only have one double crochet here. We need 3. So this is the second one, and instead of doing another double crochet, you're going to insert it into the other one, wrap it, and then just pull it through. And you're going to do that one more time, another double crochet just in the first square. The first square will be what's towards you. And then you're going to do, in that third double crochet of the second square, just a slip stitch. And you can see, when you have them side by side, it makes just a little bit of a seam. The next one has 3 slip stitch or 3 double crochets in this chain 1 space. So you're going to do the same thing. You're going to double crochet, stick it into the one, and slip stitch it, double crochet, and then you chain 1, and this is how you finish up your square, just like we did the last time. But let me snip this. Now they're joined. When you do it this way, you do get a little bit of a seam. It's a little bit raised there, but that's a really quick and easy way to join it as you're going. And you can do that the whole way, as many as you connect. So that's the join as you go method. So when you're doing the whip stitch method, you're not going to join them as you go, so you're not going to have to worry about working the edges together. You can make every single granny square by themselves ahead of time. So I've made 2 here, And for this example, normally you would use the same color that you used for the squares. But for this example, I'm going to use a different color. So I have this dark gray, and you're going to need a yarn needle. And the difference between a yarn needle and a regular needle is that this has a bigger opening for your yarn. So you just put that through, and then what you're going to do is you're going to line the edges of your squares up back to back. And you're going to do it the same way as you did with the join as you go, where you match up the stitches. But for this, what you're going to do is you're going to, in the corner, which one do we have here? Chain 2. So you're going to start at the side, in the very corner, and you're going to wrap it. And when you work in a whip stitch, you literally just whip it around back and forth, kind of like a spiral. So we just put it through that first stitch. Then we're going to whip it into the next 2. And if you can see, you just do the first 2 braids and the second, because it looks like a little braid. So you put it through the first and the second, and you pull it through. And you always go from the same side. So here, we're going to put it into the next one, and the next one, I'm just going to do a couple here so that you can really see. And make sure you don't skip a stitch because they should match up perfectly. And if you look, see how it's completely, and if you were using the same color, you wouldn't even see that. The difference between this from the join as you go method is that you're not going to get that little ledge that we had in the join as you go method, but you're still going to have them joined. The only thing is this can take a little bit longer because when you're joining as you go, you're saving time because you don't have to go back later and attach them. But this is a really easy way for joining just about anything, and especially if you're a beginner and haven't done it before, this is going to be the way that you're going to go. So there we finished the whole thing, and when you open it up, it's nice and taut. And that's how you whip stitch your project together. And then you could, depending on how many squares you have, you can go ahead and assemble them all this way and then whip stitch them the other way. It just depends on how you want to do it, but that's how you just keep attaching them on, just like that. So I hope that this little tutorial for the joining of granny squares has helped you guys. I'd like to see whatever projects you come up with. Scarves, clothing, bags, you can do all kinds of things with these granny squares. And be a little creative too. These I just use solid colors, but you can easily do multiple colored squares and keep going and attach them like this. So if you liked this video and you'd like to see more like them, please subscribe to our channel down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye!